Hi, I'd like to welcome anyone who's watching to my new channel. This is my first video, and if anyone's out there listening or watching, thank you for being here. Today, we'll be talking about Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 11, named Deceiver. We'll be doing a quick summary of what went down, as well as analysis and kind of my thoughts regarding the episode and positive, negatives, etc., etc. We start off with Gabby going absolutely nuts and just beating the brains out of this poor guard who gets tricked into coming into their cell. They escape and they find their way to this river, where we have one of the more interesting parts of the show, in my opinion, where Gabby and Falco get into a little bit of an argument over Gabby's armband, because Falco, of course, wants her to get rid of it in hopes that, it limits the possibilities of them getting caught by soldiers. But to Gabby, it's the only thing that sets her apart from the other Eldians on this island. Gabby obviously has pride in the kind of Eldian that she is. She sees herself as she's different from these people, on these devils on this island. And to her, this symbol on her arm helps distinguish her from the rest. The two of them are found by Kaya, the girl that Sasha had saved in season 2 of this show, and she takes her to the farm that Historia set up, where Sasha's parents help take care of orphans who work the fields. This is also interesting because it gives Gabby and Falco an opportunity to show these other kids who are their age, who have also been affected and lost their loved ones through this war and this fight. And it gives Gabby, an opportunity to see herself in these children. We then, get to watch Gabby struggle to even put food down her throat without, going completely, crazy, which is fun to see. Falco doing his best to kind of contain her impulses. We also get to see Hange dealing with the consequences of Eren's actions, with the information on Eren's, arrest being leaked to the press by Flock and some of his comrades. We see her struggling with the responsibility that comes with this new position that she's found herself in, and having to deal with not knowing exactly who's on whose side within the army, basically. We have the volunteers from Marley working, it seems like, with Flock and maybe Eren to come up with these plans outside of the knowledge of Hange or any of the other commanders within the army, which obviously makes everybody uneasy and very suspicious of one another. Kaya takes Gabby and Falco to the village where her mother was eaten by the Titan that Sasha was able to, distract in order for her to escape back in season 2. She describes in gruesome detail, let's say, the way her mother was abandoned by the villagers, and how she, ended up just getting eaten alive by this Titan as Kaya just watched it happen. While telling this story, we see the horror on Falco and Gabby's faces as, Gabby especially starts to comprehend a little bit just what these people have gone through. And it seems to me, that she begins to have doubts over who's at fault, who's the real enemy. Is what she's fighting for just, why should these people pay for these atrocities that may or may not have happened thousands of years ago or a century ago, whatever. And we see what I would assume to be the beginning of Gabby's shift in mentality. We'll see if she comes around completely or not to seeing the Islanders' point of view and breaking away from the propaganda that she's been fed over the years, and coming to understand that, the people on the island are not different than she is. Just like Aaron said that he's no different than Reiner, Gabby will hopefully figure out that she's no different than Kaya. And then the episode ends with Reiner and the rest of the Titans on Marley, having a little meeting and discussing plans on how to get Gabby and Falco back and how they're going to attack and whatnot. And Reiner, basically comes up with the plan to have a surprise attack on Paradis, because he believes that Zeke will be expecting them to wait for the global forces. And because also now that they've realized that Zeke is on the other side, I forgot to mention that. And that's pretty much it. I'll start with positives. I'd say that it was nice to see Gabby, come to learn more about the island and, just give the viewers a sense of just how much she has, distrust for these people who are feeding her, who are giving her shelter, who are doing all these nice things for her. In her mind, it's all part of some scheme. There's something behind it. There's no way that they could ever be this nice. And at the end of the episode, when Kaya basically says, I'm going to help you get home, she's shocked, I think, to her that this islander would, this devil would help her in this way, wouldn't turn her into the soldiers, would protect her, would do these things for her, is kind of changing the way she sees these people. And I thought that was pretty strong. I liked that this episode felt less exposition filled than the previous one. It felt a little less like, here we go, we're going to set up all this stuff that, needs to happen, and we're going to fill you in on what you missed in the time skip. Here we just get to see kind of the progression of the story a little bit more with Gabby and Falco, which I enjoyed. I want to see Gabby grow. I think that she could turn into a really strong character and kind of, get past this whole phase where she's kind of just Aaron 2.0 and, and kind of can become her own character. In terms of negatives, I felt that Falco didn't offer as much as I had hoped this episode, it seems like he's kind of the focus of this season in a way. He's in the end credit scenes as the main guy. He's the character we started the season with. And it feels like he hasn't really been fleshed out as much as he could be. And it would have been interesting if his purpose in these scenes was more than just to counter, Gabby's crazy, violent impulses and kind of keep her from doing anything too wild. It would have been nice to see him interact a little bit more with Kaya, but this was a Gabby episode, so that's fine. It just felt like there wasn't a whole lot that happened this episode compared to others, which makes me think that probably something big will happen either the next episode or the one after that. I'm hoping something does, because we're kind of after the very intense beginning to the season, we kind of gone into a little bit more of had a little bit of a downshift, which is fine. So we, the viewers can collect themselves and get ready for the second part, where things will start to pick up again. I thought that it was, I will say that I don't know how important a lot of the stuff that happened with Flock and Hanj and Mikasa and Louise, like all that stuff, I'm hoping that it turns into something, but it doesn't feel like those scenes were absolutely necessary. To me, it felt like a lot of the things that they talked about and a lot of things that were covered based on the preview for the next episode are going to be covered next week. So I almost feel like we could have spent even more time with Gabby and Falco or we could have explored other characters and things like that. So that was also somewhat of a, I wasn't sure exactly how to feel about that. But we'll see. For this episode, I'd say it was not too shabby. I'd give it a 7 out of 10 in total. And yeah, if anyone has watched this video, because I honestly don't know if anyone ever will, I got 0 subscribers. So if anyone ended up watching this video, I appreciate it very much. I'll be making another video next week, hopefully, a little bit sooner. I'll probably be coming out with a Nomadland review as well, if any of you are interested in, a film review. And yeah, so this channel will mostly just be reviews of anime, like Attack on Titan, TV shows, in general, movies, etc., everything in that kind of department. So if you watch this video, I hope to see you again next week. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you guys soon.